everyone. Welcome back to another AWS live stream. Today we're going to be doing AWS Cloud Computing once again. So let me present the slideshow and then we can get started. All right, so welcome to Cloud Computing. Starting off, day one, what is cloud computing? So the definition is the on-demand delivery of compute power, database storage applications, and other IT resources through a cloud services platform via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. AWS started cloud computing in 2006, where they sold IT infrastructure services to businesses as web services, and it provided a simple way to access servers, storage, databases, and a broad set of application services over the internet. A cloud services platform like AWS owns and maintains the network connected hardware, which is required for these services, while you provision and use what you need. It also helps to build and run applications, and it can also be used for both the deployment and management of these applications. It's available to hundreds of thousands of customers across 190 countries. It offers powerful resources at a low operational cost. It's um, it's also important to note here that the classically provisioning services is like a Goldilocks problem, and with AWS, you can elastically scale up and down as you may need. So moving on onto some cloud benefits. So there are a few listed on this slide. The first one is the ability to deliver innovative new features to the market quicker. You can also focus on adding differentiated value. It makes new ideas feasible that were once out of reach. Experimentation becomes fast and low risk. It can adjust to fit any workload, and it helps businesses to serve their customers globally without the need for expensive, time-consuming expansion. Also, you can deploy web services using tools and languages like Chef, Visual Studio, PHP, Java, Python, etc. You can also connect to personal infrastructure by private dedicated connectivity. More benefits on this slide. Um, Starting off with trading capital expense for variable expense. So here, like I said before, you're going to pay for what you consume, and you're only going to pay when you're actually consuming. The next is benefit from massive economies of scale. So here, you're going to have a lower variable cost. You're going to achieve higher economies of scale, and this is ultimately going to lead to lower prices. You can also stop guessing about capacity. You can access as much or as little as you may need, and you can scale up or down when necessary with a few minutes' notice. Also, you can increase the speed and agility. So here you're going to reduce the time it takes to make resources actually available, and you're going to cause a large increase in agility because of the cost and time to experiment being extraordinarily lower. You're also going to stop spending money running and maintaining data centers because you're going to be only focusing on your own customers. And finally, you can go global in minutes. You can deploy your application in multiple regions around the world really quickly in just a few simple steps. And this ultimately means that you're going to be able to provide lower latency, which is, in other words, delay before the transfer of data, and a better experience for your customers at a much smaller cost. So moving on onto the total cost of ownership, which is also TCO. So this reduces the need to invest in large capital decisions. And its main purpose is to provide a pay-as-you-go model that's going to allow you to invest in the capacity that you need and use. The TCO calculators are going to allow you to estimate the cost and savings. And the calculators are also going to modify the assumptions that best meet your specific business needs. The calculator here provides directional guidance on possible savings, and the tool is built on an underlying calculation model where it generates a fair assessment of value that a customer may achieve. Another important note to make here is that the TCO calculator, the results that it brings out should only be used as an approximation instead of an exact amount. So this is a video on cloud computing. Like all of the other videos, they're going to be in the description of the live stream once it's ended. So if you want to learn about more about different topics that are covered on the slideshow, you could watch those on your own time and gain some more insight about that. Moving on to day two, it starts off with types of cloud computing. So there are several different models of cloud computing, and they all allow different amount of control over the web services. The three main types that we're going to go into more detail are on infrastructure as a service, which is IaaS, platform as a service, which is PaaS, and software as a service, which is SaaS. So, going into more detail about IaaS or infrastructure as a service, this basically contains the building blocks for cloud IT, and it typically provides the access to networking features, computers, which is virtual or dedicated hardware, and data storage space that you might need. Here, you're provided with the highest level of both flexibility and management, and this is most similar to existing IT resources, and it provides an instant computing infrastructure. So the platform as a service or PaaS, this basically removes the need for organizations to manage the underlying infrastructure, which is usually hardware and operating systems. It allows for the focus on the deployment and management of applications, and it helps business owners to be more efficient. It also disregards human concern over resource procurement, capacity planning, software maintenance, patching, etc. And this is a combination of both hardware and software components. And finally, software as a service or SaaS. This provides customers with a completed product that is both run and managed by the service provider. So SaaS is usually referred to as end user applications. And here there's absolutely no user concern about service maintenance or how the infrastructure is going to be managed. The only thing that you need to know is how you're going to actually use the software. And the example here is that a web-based email um, that can be sent and received without having to manage the feature additions falls under this type of service. So this is another video that's going to be posted in the description of the live stream once I've ended it. Day 3 starts off with how to deploy the cloud infrastructure easily. So there are four key areas to make deploying the cloud infrastructure easy. Number one is the highly trusted global infrastructure. Number two is providing broad compatibility with all popular workloads. Number three is fast and secure private networking. And number four is tools to control access to all cloud resources. So for highly trusted global infrastructure, this is basically designed for high security and the availability needs of large enterprises. It offers capabilities that restrict unauthorized access or usage without sacrificing the flexibility. And here, you're given a backup for all features. For providing broad compatibility with all popular workloads, here you can spin up virtual servers, hard drives, database, networks, and more. And these are easily set up virtual servers um, by Linux or Windows. Number three is fast and secure private networking. So this is where you provision a private sector of the AWS Cloud that you define and retain control of. It's done with simple IP networking, and the cloud environment becomes an extension of your on-premise environment. Here, you use a standard pipe that encrypts data when it moves from your environment to the cloud, and more data here creates a dedicated network connection from your existing data centers to AWS. And this gives you predictable network and an ultimate performance increase by bypassing the public internet. And there are tools to control access to all cloud resources. So this is where you're creating and managing the users and integrating with your existing identity systems. This is going to give greater flexibility to rapidly create new apps, lower costs for existing apps, and also benefit from the global infrastructure and security of AWS. Moving on to the cloud. So cloud-based applications are fully deployed into the cloud, and the applications in here are created inside the cloud, or they can be migrated from an existing infrastructure in order to take advantage of the benefits. The cloud-based applications can be built on low-level infrastructure and can also use higher services that provide detachment from management, architecting, um, and scaling goals. Hybrid. So this is a way to connect infrastructure and applications. And you connect cloud-based resources and existing resources that you might have. A common method of hybrid deployment is to extend and grow an organization's infrastructure into the cloud while connecting cloud resources to the internal system. And here you're running applications in both the cloud and on-premise. You can also access AWS whenever it may be necessary. On-premise, so this is also referred to as the private cloud, and it uses virtualization and resource management tools. On-premise deployment is going to lead to the inability to receive cloud computing benefits, and it's used to provide dedicated resources. Typically, it is the same as the previous IT infrastructure, and it uses application management and virtualization technologies in order to attempt to increase resource usage. Another video, which is going to be in the description of the live stream. All right, we're starting off now with day 4, which begins with AWS Security. So AWS infrastructure installs safeguards in order to protect privacy. The data is kept in highly secure data centers and manages dozens of compliance programs. Segments of this compliance have already been completed, and AWS has the highest security without the user having to worry about it or manage their own facility. This saves money at the same time, and you can scale your security with your AWS cloud usage. Also, the security maintains itself regardless of the cloud size. This is a video on AWS Security. AWS Analytics Services. So this is a set of services that handles every step of the analytics process. These services are powerful, flexible, but yet simple to use because they enable organizations to put their unorganized data to work in the most efficient way possible. There are a few example services which are listed on this slide. Elasticsearch, Amazon Kinesis, Amazon Redshift, and Amazon Athena. So Elasticsearch is an open source search and analytics engine which is used to log analytics, real-time application monitoring, and also user-click analytics. Amazon Kinesis is going to enable you to absorb, buffer, and process the streaming data in order to find insights promptly. Amazon Redshift is going to ask questions and command exabytes, which is a 10 to the 18th power of a byte, of both organized and disorganized data across your data warehouse, optional database, and data lake, which is a centralized repository that allows you to store all of your structured and unstructured data at any scale using a language called the Standard Query Language, or SQL. Amazon Athena is an interactive question service that makes it simple to analyze data in Amazon S3 using SQL itself. AWS Compute Services. So AWS offers multiple services that can deploy, run, and scale applications as virtual servers, containers, or code. Examples of this include Amazon EC2, Lightsail, or Elastic Container Service, or ECS. So EC2 obtains servers quickly and inexpensively. Lightsail creates a virtual private server, or VPS, on AWS. ECS, or Amazon Elastic Container Service, runs in Docker containers, which contain software that are in standardized units, which are known as containers. And these are known for packaging everything a software needs to run, including libraries, system tools, code, and also runtime. More about AWS Database Services. So necessary databases for applications such as managed relational, non-relational, data warehouse, in-memory data store, and graph databases are found here. Amazon DynamoDB and Amazon Relational Database Services. So for DynamoDB, this is a fast and flexible database service for any workload. Like what we've talked about today, for the most part, you only pay for what you utilize. And the key value database that delivers nearly instantaneous single-digit performance at any scale is this one. It's built to handle internet applications, it's a fully managed service, and it handles more than 1 trillion requests per day. RDS is a relational database service with 6 well-known database engines. They can be set up, operated, and scaled in just a few steps. And in the corner, we can see another video on Amazon relational uh, database services. Day 5 starts off by talking about AWS developer tools. So these tools contain code and they automatically create, evaluate, and deploy applications. It's a set of services that both quickly and carefully deliver software. And the services store and hold control of your application source code. It's used for the constant integration, continuous delivery, infrastructure as a code, and monitoring. A few tools that are listed on this slide are Pipeline, the Cloud Development Kit, and AWS Code Deploy. So for code pipeline, this creates an end-to-end software release workflow using services. It's a continuous delivery service that automates the release of pipelines in order to have a fast and reliable application, as well as infrastructure updates. It effectively and efficiently delivers features and updates. For the AWS Cloud Development Kit, this is an open software development structure which defines your cloud application resources using known programming languages. It supplies cloud applications, but it's important to note here that this can be a challenging process that requires you to perform manual actions, write custom scripts, maintain templates, or learn domain-specific languages. AWS CDK utilizes familiarity and expressive power of programming languages in order to model your applications. AWS Code Deploy is the tool that installs applications and updates servers. It lowers the workload on developers and quickens the release of new products and features. Code Deploy is what makes it simple for users to rapidly release new features and help dodge the downtime during application deployment, and to also deal with the complexity of updating applications. The positives of these include automated deployments, minimized downtime, centralized control, and being easy to adopt. More about some AWS management tools. These allow you to provision, monitor, and set forth your cloud environment. You can maintain stable control without restricting your developmental speed using these tools. A few listed here is CloudWatch, CloudFormation, and System Manager. So CloudWatch is a service which was built for developers, system operators, site reliability engineers, and IT managers. CloudWatch provides information and insights to monitor your applications, understand and respond to system-wide performance changes, optimize resource utilization, and also get an allied view of operational health. It gathers monitoring and operational data in the form of logs, metrics, and events, providing you with a linked view of AWS resources, applications, and services that run on Amazon web-based services and on-premises servers. CloudFormation provisions a common language to supply important assets in the cloud. Provisions here can be automated to be sent over and over again, and it models infrastructure using a simple text file. And finally, for AWS Systems Manager, this allows the full control of the structure of AWS. You can automate the tasks which are needed for smooth operations, and it helps to guarantee the security and compliance. Also, you can detect problems quickly. Now for networking and content delivery services, these allow you to isolate your cloud infrastructure, scale request handling capacity, and connect the physical network to the private virtual network. The networking products are going to work together in order to meet the requirements. Elastic load balancing coordinates with the Amazon Virtual Private Cloud or VPC in order to give networking and security features. It distributes application traffic among different services, and it handles this traffic in one or more availability zones or data centers. It also improves the scalability or adjustability of your applications. AWS storage devices are reliable, secure, and adjustable locations for your data. They offer a wide variety of cloud storage services to support both application and archival compliance requirements. Archival requirements are the dates when things can be archived, so they're stored away and hard to get back. One can choose from the different options to build the base of your cloud storage management solution. And in AWS, the different types of storage services include object storage, file storage, block storage, backup, data transfer, and edge computing and storage. And this is a video on an introduction to AWS web-based services.
Hi.
That's all for cloud computing today. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next session when we continue to talk about innovation.